Just a couple of guys, a couple microphones, and a heck of a lot of know. It's Football on the Know with Jim and Joe.
What they say, it's not the X's and the O's, it's the Jimmies and the Joes.
All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to Football on the Know. I am Jim McPhee, and alongside of me is Mr. Joe DeCapita.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back for another edition of Football on the Know show. Right here, ready to go. Are you ready? Because we're ready.
You seem psyched. Is it just because now that the Raiders finally beat the Chiefs? Is that
finally,
what it is?
I feel like the world has been lifted off my shoulders. No, but I mean, honestly, like it was an incredible game. Yes, there were, like, people are going to always nitpick every game, just like we always do as fans. We're going to say the referees blew this call, they blew that call. And yeah, there were some blatant calls that were missed, or the flag was thrown and it probably shouldn't have been, but we're here. You know, it is what it is. Like, we're not going to be able to solve that. We're not going to be able to, like, you know, trace our steps back and be like, hey, let's play that play back over again. Mm-hmm. But we are here ready to go. Listen, we are approaching very, 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 very quickly the end of the regular season.
Absolutely. Playoff time.
It's been a whirlwind of a season to throw everybody off. Just when you have a team pegged and say, wow, this team's really good, they end up losing to a team that has no business being on the field with them. Mm-hmm. So this season has been the epitome of parity for the whole entire year.
Right.
Like, this is why we play the games every single week, because we still, to this point, have no clue what's going to happen.
Absolutely. But one thing that we do know so far that we've seen in matchups from the AFC versus NFC's best, that the AFC is destroying the NFC's best every time they face each other. We saw it, multiple times. Look at we just saw with the 49ers and the Baltimore Ravens. Wow, that was surprising. Again,
that wasn't even a close game. That was they just whooped them. And honestly, like, we were on the other side of that. We were like, all right, well, the Niners are hot. You know, so isn't Baltimore. Baltimore has been hot too. They haven't been in the spotlight as much as the Niners, but quietly they've been on fire. And we're like, well, you know, the Niners, they got this player, that player, you know, they're just rolling over teams.
Yeah.
Who's going to be able to stop them? Well, Baltimore has a shot, but I don't know. I don't see it happening. And Baltimore proved everybody wrong, because I feel like the majority out there were betting on the Niners. Like, almost everybody picked the Niners, almost. And Baltimore, hey, kudos to them to kind of, like, you know, pony up and just have at it. Like, they're like, okay, we're going to prove everybody wrong this week, that don't overlook this team, because even though you might think we're good, we're actually better than good. We can compete against anybody any given Sunday.
Absolutely. And then we talk again about maybe one of the NFC's best. The Dallas Cowboys face the Miami Dolphins, and Dolphins really didn't let them in at all either.
No.
You know, it's all one-sided. So it's amazing how we've seen now the AFC really treating it to the NFC this season.
Kind of taking care of those type of games, those cross-conference games, where the AFC has been dominant in terms of records against the NFC, but playoffs are a whole different story too. You know, when we get to the Super Bowl, who knows what can happen then?
Absolutely. But, Joe, here we go. We're hearing the news now, the last couple of days here, about Russell Wilson benched for the rest of the season. Jarrett Stidham will start now. And it's funny, a lot of people, again, saying, hey, it's been a long time coming here. Controversy behind it all. People, of course, rooting it to seeing, the head coach reaming out, Russell Wilson on the sidelines multiple times this
all season long.
And now, controversy and the fact and why. Why is it? Is it just to save the money? Because they're saying now that Russell Wilson, again, has that injury clause. So if he gets injured, he's still guaranteed that money for the upcoming season. If he's on the roster now, by March 17th, he'll get guaranteed money too as well.
Correct.
So looks like they're turning the page from him. Again, he did better than last season. This season, again, amassing throwing 66%, 3,000 yards, but also 28 touchdowns with only 6 picks or something, or 26 touchdowns, 8 picks. Better than last year. Last year was terrible, absolutely, under Nathaniel Hackett. Looks like he bounced back this year, but it's, again, not enough, because we saw even the first part of the season, the offense not really looking so hot. They look like a big stinker, and starting to get back and turn the page a little bit here, but not enough to get the playoff their hopes up, and now they're moving on.
They were up, and they just crashed right to earth really quickly in 1 week. So I mean, for the Broncos, for what has taken place all season long in Denver, it's been a mess. Early on, like you mentioned, Jim, like it wasn't looking good at all. Like it looked terrible. Offensively, they couldn't get points. They couldn't score points. The defense was doing whatever it could to try to stay in games. The defense is good. The defense is solid. There's no issues with that side of the ball. However, the offense, which is why Sean Payton was brought in, where we were expecting some kind of like kick, like some kind of like spark on that side of the ball, where like, oh, they should be able to score like, 17, 21 points, something on average a week. That's kind of what, ballpark figures what we were hoping for. And we didn't see it. Flat out just did not see that progression, did not see them get any better week to week. Now we come towards the end of the season here. We saw the blow-ups on the sideline. We've seen Sean Payton going after Russell Wilson with no holds barred, just blatant disregard for respect. I feel like there's a lack of respect there too, where not only was he just flat out screaming at him, it's not like he's a rookie or a second-year quarterback that's just not getting it or not executing the plays the right way in his offense. This is a veteran quarterback that's been there, done that, has won Super Bowl, he has something under his belt. Like he has achieved, the highest of highs in the NFL. Sean Payton doesn't care about that. He wants results. So the interesting thing about Denver and with Russell Wilson, that whole situation, is that it seemed to me pretty early on in the year that Sean Payton, even though he signed and took this job, that was one of the positions where he wasn't as thrilled to take over. He understood, everybody knows what Russell Wilson is now. He's an aged quarterback, obviously. He's okay. He's like an okay quarterback to have, but Sean Payton wants something different. There's something about his offense that he wants it run a certain way, and to his liking, it's not happening with Russell Wilson. And you just saw that relationship grow farther and farther apart to the point where the writing was on the wall. Like, not even before this point, we saw it happening where there was a little bit of a rift between the two. Sean Payton wasn't happy every single week. He was losing his mind because of either something that he audibled on the line of scrimmage or a receiver that he believed he shouldn't have thrown into and he didn't. So there's a lot of things that were happening in that inside, behind closed doors, and between Sean Payton and Russell Wilson. Now it's all come out. It's like, I'm done. I can't work with this guy anymore. He wasn't his quarterback. Let's take that into consideration here with this discussion, is that Sean Payton didn't pick Russell Wilson. It's not his quarterback. So he was going to work with him, see if it could work out, but clearly it's not going to. So they are going to move on. They've already kind of made the decision already because they officially announced his benching. Once you do that to a starter and you say, okay, we're going to start the backup in Jarrett Stidham for the next 2 weeks to finish off the regular season and see what we have in him, the writing's on the wall there. So the interesting part is, like you just mentioned, Jim, March 17th, that's when the guarantee kicks in. There's a lot of money that's going to be sacrificed in this. Mm-hmm. Like, if you cut him in March, that's what it sounds like they're going to do, that's $85 million. That's going to kill the cap That's $85 million of that cap space is gone. And then the dead money is also insane. Like, to me, it doesn't make financial sense. But like, if they were to wait till maybe, I understand the guaranteed money part, and that's what they want to avoid. But $7 million guaranteed salary this year, that's what kicks in. But if you wait till after June 1st, that's when you can kind of you get a little bit more relief then. Then you're looking at only a $17 million cap hit and $39 million in dead money. So it's a little bit lighter of a burden to take on, but man, this is just out of control. The finances are they're haywire. And now they're in a very, very tough spot moving forward.
I've got Max Boyd is in the house. He says Pro Football Focus says that he's going to be released by the end of the season here with a turn of events. Oz Murphy is in the house with us tonight.
Oh,
he says,
the Oz, the OZ.
Says, wrong fit for him, obviously, there. And then Mike Tackett is also in the house with us tonight. He says, Broncos Nation, I'm out, clowns. There you go. So,
nice, Mike.
there you go. That's right.
Welcome to the show, everybody. Appreciate the comments and everything. But, yeah, wrong fit. Yeah, well, I mean, that's the thing is, like, Russell was already there. He was already in place when Shane came over, and it is what it is, right? They're trying to work it out, and it's just not working. So Broncos are going to look forward. They're going to try to maybe find their future quarterback in the draft, and or who knows? Can he work with a guy like Justin Fields if Chicago decides to move on from Fields? Is that something that he's potentially interested in, or the Broncos themselves? Or are they going to just look for the young rookie, bring him in, mold him into what they want a quarterback to be, and go from there?
Yeah, and like you said about it, if they are going to plan on releasing them before March 17th, the cap hit on them for next year is going to be $49.6 million in 2024 for them. So they're going to lose all that money. It makes more sense, like you were talking about possibly, is they just look at it after the fact. I mean, you're obviously not going to be able to trade them, so you're not going to get any trade value for that. So that's not going to work, because ultimately that would help you out the best, because then you can get some of the some other team to take up some of that cap, and then you'll be free of charge.
That's the ultimate goal. Obviously, because if you were able to trade him, and that's the thing is, like, you'd only be able to just a 7th round pick to be able to trade him. That's like the ultimate goal for Denver. That's their situation that they would want,
the contract,
because
at least his paying his salary.
Then you're looking at $8 million in cap savings and only a $14 million hit for 2023. So that would be like what they would. That's the pipe dream, right? Like that's really what they're hoping for, but more likely it's not going to happen.
And it says if they release him after June 1st, actually too, they'll eat his contract at $35 million, but then they'll avoid any financial loss here against the cap for the 2024 season there, too. So that's even the better option. If you end up cutting him after the fact, after June 1st, going into the summertime, they'll just pay his contract. So you're going to even save yourself technically another $10 million. We've got Mike Tackett's in the house. He says, due to the unforeseen events regarding Russell Wilson's contract, Walmart has announced that they will close all registers, only keeping one self-checkout open. There you go. I love it.
There you go.
And it's funny how they do that now. Isn't it amazing how every freaking store you go into now that's just all self-checkout and there's barely any registers open to help you out? It's messed up.
Just helping the machine.
Yeah, absolutely. But it was a busy shopping week. How's your holiday, dude? How was your
it was
Christmas
good.
And everything? Everybody out there,
it was
hope
different.
You had a great holiday out there, and New Year's coming up. Let us know what your plans are for the upcoming year. Any resolutions you have, especially for your teams moving forward.
There's a lot more.
I have a lot to plan. Yeah, they have lots of stuff. We have the draft. We have, what are we going to do with the quarterback situation?
There's a lot there.
So there's a lot going on there for my team. So yeah, Joe, it was an exciting week again. Football 3-4 days this week. It was pretty fun. But now
it was cool. Yeah,
playoff time, like you said, it's coming to the end of the season. Playoff time's coming. So now
starting
there's
to shape up
of teams that are on the borderline and on the cusp here, and
yeah, there's an awful lot.
Yeah. So,
and we talked about it like last week about the percentages, like how last week, before we even got, to where we're at now, last week there was still 30 teams technically that were eligible for playoffs that could potentially make it. Small percentages, obviously, like we're talking like 0.6% or something, or 0.06. But still, they were still kind of in the hunt with a lot of help. Now, I think some of those teams fell off. Obviously, the Broncos are one of them. They just kind of plummeted now. They're still technically in it, but they need a lot of help as well. So,
all right. So I'm on NFL.com, and I'm going to show you guys this. There's some of the teams that are in the hunt right now. We'll just go through them and say whether we think they're a pretender or a contender here. You guys play along with us as well here. Let's start right off the bat with the Chiefs. What about the Kansas City Chiefs here, Joe? Losing a couple straight here, not looking very good. Again, Patrick Mahomes really not looking good at all.
Losing is cool.
Losing is cool. It's like losing just his vision, everything that everybody kind of, put on him about being, the next up and coming guy. Some of his things he's doing just, the reads did not even give it time to read, just letting the ball go still. It's just dumb turnovers, things that you don't expect him to make. And it's put his game, his team in jeopardy.
He doesn't listen. There's a thing called poise that most quarterbacks have, where you're seeing now when things don't go his way, he does not have, because he's losing his mind on the sidelines when things aren't going well. The last couple of weeks, things didn't go their way. What was happening? Mahomes is losing his mind on the sideline. He's losing his mind on referees and blaming the referee for making the wrong call, and Travis Kelce this week throwing his helmet on the sideline in utter disgust, which, by the way, Andy Reid kept him out for a series because of it. Because, why are we acting like children right now? We are Super Bowl champions. We know we've been here before. Let's act like it. Let's not act like children right now. Yeah. And that's what you're seeing from their so-called leaders. Yeah. Like, these guys are the captains, the leaders of this team, and they're not acting like it. Right. It doesn't set a good example for the rest of the team. And you're showing that, hey, we could easily be broken. Look at them. Look at them over there. Oh, man. Oh, did he throw his helmet? Oh, he's screaming at the offensive line. Like, teams watch that, and they're like, oh, well, all we got to do is weather the storm in the beginning of the game. They're going to implode because things aren't going to go well, and then we can take over after that. Yeah. And the last couple of weeks, that's what you've seen with Kansas City. Yeah,
absolutely. Again, that little bit of entitlement, maybe, winning that second Super Bowl here at the cusp of things, on that referee call, really technically or non-call here in the end zone. Since then, it seems like, again, this year in any tight games where it's gone their way, again, like you said, they're quick to just implode, put the finger of blame somewhere else. And like you said, on their leaders, show leadership. Instead, now you've got Travis Kelce on his podcast, saying, pointing the blame at himself, and others, and saying it's not just, one person to blame, it's everybody.
Travis actually also said that he said something about the team. He's like, not everybody's holding themselves accountable. Well, okay, then maybe that's true, but my thing is, you saying that, like, hold yourself accountable. Don't allow your emotions to get too involved in it against a team like the Raiders, where they've done this tons and tons of times to the Raiders, where, like, Raiders had the lead for the longest time all game long, and then in the fourth quarter, they come back and they end up winning. That could have happened in this game. But I feel like because the Raiders, I got to give kudos to the defense, even though statistically they're good, but I don't know. There's certain things that they do where I'm like, where they actually played a very disciplined game for once against the Chiefs, and that kind of frustrated them. And after that point, it looks like they never could get back to their comfort zone.
All right, we've got a couple of comments out here, Joe. Let's read them off.
We do.
What do we got?
Max Boyd said, Tay can't save them, pretender. Mike says, I know you guys aren't the biggest college football fans, but the Duke Mayo Bowl is the best bowl game by far. The winning coach not only gets a Gatorade bath, but also a celebratory Mayo bath. Oh, God. Oh.
Gross.
Mike, come on.
How's that good?
This is a family show.
I don't even know, is it the mayo first or is it the Gatorade then, afterwards to wash it off, and then the way does it curdle and everything? I mean, that's gross. It probably stinks,
Mike. But like the way it says is like not only he gets Gatorade bath. So I would hope that the Gatorade bath happens after the mayo bath, so at least kind of get some of that off.
Right.
Eric Bowers goes, Chiefs are not focused at all. Won't be surprised if they are a one and done team in the playoffs. And then Mike comes back and says Kelsey's tantrum during adversity also negatively affects the team, and rightfully so. I mean, that's the thing. It's like even Mahomes, the way he's been acting, too.
Oh, he was yelling at the offensive line, and like, yes, they were allowing pressure, getting him in there and stuff. But even the mistakes, that doesn't stop. The defense getting in there wasn't him. The reason why he fumbled the handoff too, and things like that, and him really throwing the interception on that screen. It's like that's dumb things that he shouldn't be doing. It was so easy.
Yeah, because that was film work. Done, you know what I mean? The corner read that play, knew the play was coming, and Mahomes still, even though he was so close already, still threw the ball there, and it got picked off for 6. But like that to me is like when he was screaming and yelling at his offensive line, better block, the game changed a little bit then because they started holding, like literally hugging guys like Max Crosby, and there was no holding calls being called against the Chiefs, which we've seen this before in past games where they're getting away with blatant holding calls, and it's like, well, nothing was called there. And even with that kind of help, even with them being able to hold the Raiders' defensive line, they still couldn't get to execute plays. So
and for me, it was Patrick Mahomes again trying to do too much. Because there was even at times where he just had to run for the first down, and he got close and tried to do this dish it up over the top on people, and it's in the double, triple coverage. And it's like, what are you doing? And then just wasn't able to get the touch on it. He'd overthrow the guy or something, and then you're into punting, or they tried to go for it on 4th down and failed miserably.
And the only success he had, you're right, the only success he had was with his legs. And not all the time, but that was the only success to get the drive the ball down the field.
We got a couple more rolling right through. Thank you, by the way, for the comments. We appreciate it out there.
Yes, sir. Mike says, nope, Gatorade first. # messy. Oh, God.
Gross.
So I would not want to be the winning coach then. I'd just be like, nope. Or I disappear. I'd win and I just run to the locker room.
They should dump everybody in mayo before they play the game and then do it.
God,
how about that?
Gross.
That would be
Paul
exciting.
Maddie said, Happy New Year from Play Linda Beach, Florida. What's going on, Paul? Welcome to the show, bro. Mike chimes back in and says, the Chiefs' struggles lately are interesting, to say the least. God, Taylor Swift, next album is going to blow people's dicks off. Nice. Well said, Mike.
That's one time I don't have the soundbite, ready for that one.
Well said, Mike. Well said.
But anyways, the Chiefs, Joe, here we go. There it is.
My dick fell off.
Chiefs right there, number 3, in the hunt. Are they a contender here, or are they a pretender in this one here?
Honestly, as far as they go forward now, you're starting to see defenses figure out the Chiefs. And it's not just like a rival that has seen them over and over and over, but there are teams that are coming in that they're losing to. Green Bay. Can we talk about the Packer game? How in the hell did the Chiefs lose to the Packers, which were struggling on offense? And they can't. Was it? I think it was in Kansas City, where Green Bay won. And it's like, what is going on here? So it's like things like that, where the Chiefs typically would never lose that game. You're seeing now that this team is slipping a little bit. And what we're noticing, too, is that Tyreek Hill effect. Is how often Tyreek Hill bailed out Mahomes when the play broke down. And let's give
they
kudos.
don't have even that big deep threat, because, again, once he does try to throw deep, too, it's like whether the guys are going to catch it or not, too, as well, because Valdez Scantling has had suspect hands.
They all
He's
have
got some of that
suspect
speed
hands.
to get him back there, but nothing like they had with Tyreek Hill.
That's the thing, is their receiving core is weaker.
Absolutely. And
All
the
of
defense has still kind of been the same type of defense. At times they could do well, but they're no top 10, at this point.
They're
but
good.
They do pretty well, though. They keep them in the game, but
they're a good
you're used to
defense,
that
though.
offense, and people like you said, like the Raiders said, they're not afraid of that offense anymore. They're afraid that when you get into that game, you always had to put points up because you had to stay with the Chiefs, because if you gave the ball back to them, Patrick Mahomes, they could score at any moment and get right back in the game. Now they figured if they can get in front of these guys and like you said, kind of weather the first half, weather the storm, and get through it, they can tough it out and outscore this team. We've got a couple more comments. What do we got here?
Yeah, Max chimed in and said game was in Green Bay.
Green Bay,
yes,
there you go.
Should not have lost, right? But yeah, I mean, that's the thing is like with the Chiefs and where they're headed, like I feel like because of all the, even look at some of the trick plays they tried to do. They tried to do
some
new
of the ones they did it in moments that were dumb.
They try to do new and different ones that we haven't seen before, and they screwed it up in the play. Mm-hmm. So it's like, stop trying to do too much. Yeah. Like you don't have to do a trick play. You guys are a good enough team that you can just execute basic X's and O's, and you should be okay. So when you're getting the red zone, obviously everybody knows that you love to throw it to Kelsey, but you got other weapons that you could just dish the ball off to, and you kind of make the plays happen. But so far they're in disarray. So I got to say that they're pretenders at this point because of their tripping over their own feet, because they are not all in sync. They're not executing as well as they have in the past.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like you said. And when I look at this too, even contenders, that means you're contending not even just to make the playoffs.
Well, it's Super Bowl.
You're contending to be a Super Bowl. You're a true contender. And right now the Chiefs don't look like it to me. Again, defense has been the better part of them so far, and offensively, they're sketch, up and down. You can't see, what they are every week. You know what I mean? Can't get the running game going like, Travis Kelce even said. Pacheco at times he looked really strong, but if he's not healthy, then they don't have a running game at all.
Yeah,
you know
what's
it's not like Clyde Edwards-Helaire is going to pick up the ball or anything with them.
What's interesting about that line though that you mentioned is that I don't know what happened, but it seems like they're not as good of a run blocking line as like years ago, like a couple years ago. It seems like they're lacking in that department right now. Pacheco's a good back. Don't get me wrong. Very hard runner and everything, but we're just not seeing it. And then, just like you said, with Rashee Rice, it seems like he's the favorite out of the receiving corps, and he's a rookie.
Yeah.
He also has issues dropping the ball as well. Gifted talent, but across the board, they are not they don't have the same receiving corps as before.
Paul Matty said he likes the ticker bar at the bottom of the screen.
Appreciate
Thank you
it,
so
Paul.
much, Paul. We appreciate that.
Appreciate it.
Here we go. Next, we've got the Jaguars here, on the 4th seed for the AFC. Joe, they've kind of tailed off too, and it's all hindering on the health of Trevor Lawrence here, but. Still, offensively, they're not clicking. I think he even said it together. He said it looks like we don't even practice out there. Just not on all cylinders, and not looking like that team of last year, who was kind of that scary team, that youthful and kind of making that push that nobody really expected to do. And this year, then up and down. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's like, and where you are now in the season, you don't want to be backdooring into the playoffs, because you see when that happens, you don't really make a whole lot of, you don't make that big splash moving forward. It's the teams that really are playing the best right now, on every phase of the game moving forward, that really make that push towards the end of the postseason here for the playoff, for the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And right now the Jaguars don't look like it.
Yeah, Max already calls it out right now. It says Jags are pretenders.
You are fake.
Here's my thing with Jacksonville, and you're right. It has been a roller coaster all season long with this team. They've come out and shown us at times like, oh my God, this is the Jaguar team we were expecting from week one. It just showed up later. It showed up in the middle of the season. We're like, okay. And then they strung along a few wins and everything. They started to get a pretty good record, and they were leading the division. And now, as we get closer to the end of the season, seems like the wheels are falling off here. Trevor Lawrence getting injured, that's a big thing right there in itself. He's banged up. He's had concussions. He's had ankle injuries and everything right now. He's kind of he's just a battered warrior right now at this point. So, man, I think without your starting quarterback, no matter what team it is, you're at a huge loss. And if Lawrence isn't healthy enough to try to get this team back together, which right now he's in jeopardy of missing yet another week. And that's not a good thing right now, because you still have to hold on to that lead. So Jaguars, even if they creep into the playoffs, they are not hitting on all cylinders. They are not playing as one unit like we were hoping to see. So I have to say that they are pretenders as well.
There you go. Paul May said it'd be wrong of him to give up on Trevor Lawrence. So he maybe thinks that they still have a chance. Jags fan down there in Florida.
No, I don't think anybody's giving up on Lawrence, but I mean the injuries is an issue.
Injury is a big thing here too. Again, and that team, like you said, even last year, Ken, they put people a bit of surprise on what they were able to do under Doug Peterson. But yeah, at this point too, they're up and down. I gotta say, this has got to be them being pretenders as well, because it's tough though too with this AFC. You're unsure with what some of these teams, they've been up and down, but like I said, one thing that they all have kind of proven though, if they face any AFC team or NFC team, they can beat them, which is kind of funny. So these teams are all sneaky altogether.
So real quick on the Trevor
Stephen
Lawrence
Murray's
front.
in the house with us tonight, Joe.
Oh jeez. Oh my God.
Steve sighting.
There's a Stephen Murray sighting. Welcome to the show, bro. He said Jim's hair has been cut.
Yes, that's right.
He's shocked at this. He said he will not pick any more correct games until the grow a beard or next season.
These are facts. What do you mean?
Well, he's been picking
pick
games.
Up great games.
He's been picking games.
That's right. I'm still winning right now.
But I will say, real quick about Trevor Lawrence is that he hasn't thrown. He didn't throw today at all. He's not sure about Thursday, but he is feeling better. He's officially a non-participant at practice, and they play. They play this Sunday, right?
Who?
The Jaguars.
The Jaguars, yes.
Yeah,
so
he's got a
Carolina.
couple more days to try to maybe see if he'll be a good to go candidate.
And that looks pretty good for them facing a Carolina team was not very good, but ultimately able to beat the Atlanta Falcons. The Atlanta Falcons even showed up this week. I mean, they're a team that's all up and down too. I don't even get, man. They're messed up. But anyways, here we go. Let's move on from the Jaguars. We're going to the Cleveland Browns here now under Joe Flacco. Do they make a run here now? They got Joe Flacco. Joe, they've got the veteran quarterback here. He's won the Super Bowl before with the Baltimore Ravens. And that defense still top notch, Joe, even despite some injuries that they've had here and there. Still getting it done here. And Amari Cooper, again, record breaking, for a wide receiver for him in a game. What a hell of a game he had. But here you go. And we kind of thought it's kind of funny with this team. Nick Chubb goes down. Bang. Oh, man, that's it. That's their bread and butter. But they still got weapons. They still got Deshaun Watson. And these guys. Boom, Deshaun Watson injuries up and down. And then finally he's out. So you're like, all right, we're scrambling for a quarterback. What do we got? We got, their young quarterback, that they drafted was trying him out. Not working. Joe Flacco, what the hell? He's on his couch sitting at home watching TV. Let's bring him in. And what the hell, Joe? Here we go. Relying on defense, but that offense also just putting up points. You know what I mean? It's not just like the defense is winning the games like for the Jets. Jets are their defense or bust. These Browns are getting it done on multiple phases of the game here. And it's been a blessing that they've got Joe Flacco here for them and to make this playoff push.
I'll say like the defense before Flacco came though, they were struggling to score points. Like they couldn't find the right guy to get in there. And Joe, I gotta say, for a guy that literally just came off the couch, learned the playbook relatively quickly, he looks extremely comfortable, like he's been playing in training camp with this team. It looks like he just got the playbook. He's like, yep, I got it. And he's just throwing darts all over the football field. So Flacco, revitalizing his career with the Cleveland Browns in the same division he used to play for with the Ravens. It's nice to see as a nostalgia, type of player coming back.
All right, we got a couple comments here,
but
Joe.
for Cooper, there's an issue there. Cooper's got a big-time heel injury. Most likely he's not even going to be able to play tomorrow night, so he'll be out. I don't know how long he's going to be out, but hopefully it'll only be this week. We got Paul just said, I just want to say you guys are powerful and attractive men.
Oh, wow.
No homo. Oh, really appreciate that, Paul. Thank you so much, sir.
Man.
Hashtag know-it-all.
Max chimes in, says, Joe Flacco is a zombie. I will eat my sock if they win the Super Bowl. Hashtag pretenders.
Oh, man.
Hashtag know-it-alls.
Greg Schreiner. Hey.
Oh,
Greg Schreiner with the spadazz here.
Master of spadazz
He's
himself.
a master of spadazz,
There
everyone.
he is.
I'm in on the Browns. Flacco is playing like Ray Lewis is breathing down his shoulder pads. Okay.
I'm happy when I'm playing.
Oh, man.
But, hey, welcome to the show, Greg.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's been a while.
Who said they eat their sock? Who's that one? Is that Mike Tackett?
It was Greg.
Greg.
Yeah, Greg said he's in on the Browns. He said Flacco was playing like.
No, yeah, that's who said that before that, but they would eat their sock.
That was Max.
Max. Oh, Max Boyd.
Joe Flacco was a zombie. He said he will eat his sock if they win the Super Bowl.
Stephen Murray says, agreed, strong male specimens. Thank you. I appreciate that.
We're changing the show from a football talk show to who's the sexiest men in NFL
we have
talk.
to come up, now you just said, we have to come up with a calendar at the end of the year we have to sell, right, Joe? We got to do a know-it-all calendar.
In the know with Jim and Joe.
Maybe people would buy that now. We're getting the feedback. So we got to follow.
That's right.
The followers. All right. So the Browns, Joe.
Yeah.
Wait, here we go. He goes. Mike Boyd. I'll admit, Joe Flacco is back from the dead.
Yeah.
The Browns again
awesome.
look really good, really strong. Again with that defense. Defense wins championships. For the Browns, I think they're a strong contender. I don't think they're pretending at all. I'm surprised at what they've been able to do here. But if they keep doing what they're doing, and like I said, under that defense here. They can go pretty far in this AFC to where yes we got your top teams here in the
favorites,
Dolphins and the Baltimore Ravens, but they've shown even at times that at least the Ravens still look like the strongest team so far in the NFL, but the Dolphins you've seen times where, again, who are they really beating? In some of these tough games, yes, they've beaten some of the NFC teams, but anybody strong with a winning record in the AFC, it's been kind of tough for them moving forward, especially without Tyreek Hill. Lucky to see him back this past week. But I think the Browns got a shot, man. They got a shot.
Yeah, I mean, the Cleveland Browns right now, like, you look at this defense, we knew how great it was before the season started, but, man, they've really dialed it up a notch. Getting after quarterbacks, stopping the run, defending the pass, and now you put that with what looked like a disastrous, outcome with Watson going down and not going to be able to continue the season. They bring in Joe Flacco, who nobody really thought he was going to come in and blow up the league like he has. Like, everyone thought, like, okay, they got Flacco, maybe he can sustain some drives and they can kind of stay in games and win some games and edge out some teams. But, man, this offense with Flacco, he understands the playbook. He's getting rid of the football on time to his receivers, letting his playmakers play. And with this defense together, they have to be contenders because they're right back in the hunt now. Like, they have the offense to do it. They have the defense to do it and the special teams. So watch out for Cleveland.
All right. We got some more comments here, Joe.
Yeah, he goes, Steve chimes in and says, the know-it-all.
The know-it-all, bear it all. 2024 calendar available at Walden Books. I like that. Nice. Walden Books.
Paul chimes in and says, a show with you guys taking whiskey shots would be very entertaining.
Yeah.
Yes, it is when we drink. That's for sure.
It would be, and absolutely, yeah. And at our picks show, at the end of the season, you tune in for that one. That would be fun. You're going to get something similar to that.
I'll tell you right now, last season was the first time we ever ended up in a tie. And we had Cody on the show at the time.
Yep.
All three of us had to drink. So that was probably the most entertaining show.
Yeah. It'd probably be tough to top that
probably
one
tough,
again. Because, again, probably a lot of the controls were on cruise control. And not a lot of graphics and things moving.
Hold on. Let me get back to that.
Yeah, absolutely. So here we go. There's the Browns here. I think other people can believe it in us here. Same thing about contending. And we've got the Bills here. Now, it's funny with the Bills and what they're sitting here and their record. They're at the 6th seed. They're still in the hunt technically, but they've got the 45% or making it, or is that what it says? Their scenario. This might be the best scenario even for the Bills right now, because where they've even been the last couple seasons, they've been that top contender, AFC championship games here and there. Really been expected to do things. This year they really underwhelmed and it didn't really hit expectations like they were supposed to, and they kind of found that moment in between the season to where they had to reflect upon themselves and like, what the hell are we doing here? And then they made some changes here at the offensive coordinator job. Now they have Joe Brady running the show, and they changed from that whole mindset of, hey, let's try and keep our quarterback healthy, Josh Allen healthy here, not run him so much, into where they said, what, screw it. this is it. This is who we are, and this is who he is. And why are we trying to hold him back and making something that he's not? Let's just roll with it. If he gets injured, what the hell? That's it. We lived and we died by, what we do. So this is what they've done here, made the changes, and now they might be a better off team coming in as a wild card shot here. Going in as an underseed, the undercard coming in, and hit the wild card weekend. And now they just beat their way through the mud through some of these other teams and make it to the end. So maybe some of these other top tier teams, again, falter to some of the other teams, and they're able to beat some of these guys here as that kind of that, underdog now. Not so much that team that's on the top that's supposed to be doing something. They're playing the underdog role right now, and they're winning games right now and looking very good.
Yeah, Max just chimed in. He said Buffalo is a tricky team, but when together can be dangerous. #contender. So Max, who says the Bills are contenders, also said the Browns are pretenders.
Oh.
So that'll be interesting to evaluate and watch going forward. Paul also said, no, wait, that was before. We got Greg coming in here. He said, I have been very impressed with what McDermott has done with a defense that has had their top 3 players go down with injuries. Next man up mentality. It's fun to watch. And this is the thing that for every team, when you lose a starter, obviously besides quarterback, but when you lose like a linebacker, a D end, wide receiver, someone's got to pick up the slack. Someone's got to step up, and the Buffalo Bills players have done that, and that's why you're starting to see that team kind of get back into the flow of things. This is a team right now, currently at the end of the season, where we're seeing this Bills team right now, this offense, the way it's being called, the way they're running it and executing. This is what we envisioned in week 1. We never got that. We didn't get it in the beginning, the middle. Now we're getting it in the end, and it's right at the right time. When you have to be hot, when you have a chance to make the playoffs, get in there, and if you do so, now not only you're one of the hot teams, but also you're one of those dark horse teams now. Even though there's plenty of Bills fans out there with Bills Mafia and all that, they have all the faith in the world in their team, but other fans might be like, wrote them off and said, it's Buffalo. We don't have to worry about them. They're going to implode. And no, they are dialed in right now. Josh Allen is not like it's his decision, but with Joe Brady taking over the play calling duties, he's gone back to what works with Josh Allen, utilizing his legs in the offense, making defenses, kind of unsteady and back on their heels. Got to watch out for Diggs. Got to watch out for Josh Allen's arm, his legs, all that. And the running game. James Cook starting to really get a big part of this offense, amongst others. The rookie, Dalton Kincaid, coming out of nowhere with this team and really kind of helping out. So this Bills team and the defense has always been there. It's always been good. But now that they have the offense back in gear, they got to be contenders. They have to be. Because this was one of those favorite teams in the beginning of the year where everybody was saying, well, the Bills are going to make the playoffs. Like, it was like not even like a second thought. Everybody thought the Bills were going to be there. So now that they're right there on the cusp, make that final push, get into the playoffs, and then create havoc.
Yeah, and like Greg said it, I mean, when we saw Matt Milano go down and
that's a huge loss.
That's
a really big loss.
For a little bit too. We saw him take a turn. You're like, oh man, this is a big difference that Matt Milano is for them. But currently, right now, they're top 10 defense. Fourth in points for, and their offense again 6th points for and yards 4th. Key numbers though, Joe, in the red zone, first.
Boom, right.
On third downs, first.
Right.
And in fourth down conversions that people are doing a lot more now. It's not, so much like the tush push, but they're 6th ranked right now. So top 10
really,
on
really
offense
good.
and all those key aspects here. And especially, like you said, when you just brought it up here, the red zone. And James Cook is a big part of that, getting the run game going, not only with just, Josh Allen, but James Cook as well, really coming alive.
Yeah, James, just let him cook. That's it.
Boom, I like it. They got to put that on the jersey, right?
That's patented. No football. No.
There you go.
Real quick update. Mike, this is for you, buddy. West Virginia beats and upsets North Carolina in the Mayo Bowl, 30-10. So if anybody's paying attention to the quarterbacks coming out, guess who's on North Carolina? Drake May. Guess who we're not thrilled about? Drake May. And
guess
there you
who's
go.
Getting Mayo on him?
Not Drake May. But That's the thing right there. Is what, like, we've called it early on before a lot of other people. People keep pushing this kid up the board, but look at that performance right there. You only put up 10 points. Sorry, not buying it. But West Virginia, kudos to them. Good job, boys.
All right, here we go. We got some more here.
Greg says, do you think McDermott's fast playing defense is tough to sustain? No, because they've been doing it for the last couple of years. Like, don't think so at all. And you're noticing, too, like, every offseason, what have they done a pretty decent job at is getting younger players kind of and rotating them in and getting them involved and getting them put in place to where when it comes time to take over that spot, they're fine. They're just going to continue going. Greg also said, in regards to playing fast, and
injuries, maybe? Sustained.
I'm going to say injuries.
Yeah.
Because that's what it's paid.
Sustained.
Injury sustained. You know, you can't. Injuries is a fickle thing. You can't even like predicate that, dictate that. You know, it's one of those fickle things. So like, you can't even like really talk about it. Like it's just one of those deals that every team has to deal with.
You have a big difference between Leslie Frazier's defense and Sean McDermott's defense. Yeah,
for sure. I
mean, again, and you see it at first. Again, it looked like it was slow starting again too, but the difference between adversity.
Yeah,
with having those injuries, look what you've been able to do now.
Right, Greg. So bottom line, what we're saying is that the Buffalo Bills have a lot of spadazz right now.
They do. They have the spadazz. All right, and then finally here for a long shot chance here for the Colts to make the playoffs here. They're still in the hunt. You've even got a couple down there on the bubble too, like the Texans and things like that, which there's opportunities. Some of these teams can still be able to make a shot here. Colts, for me, again, I think they've been able to do something that I'm surprised with, because again, it all started off with the running back turmoil here. What were they going to do with that in regards to that? And then now the quarterback shuffle that's been going up and down. I mean, is it going to be Gardner Minshew's gig from now on, moving forward here, or are they going to go right back to Richardson when the offseason comes back through?
Of course
let him
they
sit
are.
for a little bit here. So. The Colts, I think they're just kind of doing what they could do to win and kind of, make an impressive start for their first-time head coach. But I don't think they're expected to do a whole lot here. So I'm just going to say that they're just flat-out pretenders here. But they've been a bit of a surprise for me moving forward.
Yeah, Colts to me, like it's a nice story. Gardner Minshew coming in. And mind you, he's probably one of the best backup quarterbacks in the league. Like, this guy is starter worthy if in a pinch, like as you can see right now with the Colts, keeping them above water. So 8-7 right now with the Colts. They still have a chance to make the playoffs. The Texans, though, they have the same record, 8-7. So like for the Colts, for me, they're pretenders. They don't have everything in place. They got a decent defense, but Gardner Minshew, he's had games where he's looked absolutely horrible. So I feel like just because of that aspect, I don't think for the long haul, they're definitely not going to be able to make a major push in the playoffs. They are pretenders for me. The Texans, on the other hand, now that Stroud's back this week, they can get back on the saddle here and make some things happen. They could make a push to win this division and go into the playoffs. As a rookie quarterback, Max chimed in and said, am I the only one that wants Stroud in the playoffs, even if they lose round one? No, you're not the only one.
No, Joe
Stroud,
literally just said it, right?
Yeah. Well, here's the thing.
Before on the delay.
Yeah, the thing is too about Stroud is that we've tabbed him. Like, I had him as my number one quarterback coming out, with everybody else saying Bryce Young. This is the kid. This is the future right here. If he's able to make it into the playoffs, even if they're one and done, as a rookie, that is a humongous accomplishment.
Absolutely. Yeah, it'd be cool if they do make it. I think it's a good story altogether too. How far they can go, who knows? But
got a decent team. We'll see.
Yep, absolutely here. So all right, so now let's move on to the NFC side of the ball here, Joe, and then let's look at. There's only a few teams right now that they got labeled as in the hunt.
Okay.
Here, and then all the rest are on the crappy bubble here because the NFC sucks again this year. So it's all up and down,
in the NFC.
muddled together here. Max says Stroud is him contenders. Probably not. And then here we are. So the Buccaneers here, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. surprise kind of for me too as well. Didn't expect a whole lot, but I did expect, to do something here with Baker Mayfield at the helm to do something. But, they're a team that really went all in on, the years with Tom Brady. And when that was done, basically it's time to, pay the piper after trading, all these guys cashing in, putting those contracts in for 1-year deals and whatever. But ultimately they've had a lot of talent though on the roster. So it's kind of inevitable that they're going to do something here with this team because of the talent that they had even all around. So they just need their Baker Mayfield to kind of just play kind of, safe and been above average or about average to keep him in it. But that division's just kind of all messed up too, with the Atlanta Falcons and them back and forth and how the Saints have been underwhelming. But Tampa Bay overall, for me, they got a chance to make it here, but I think they can only go as far as they can go is what Baker Mayfield can take them. And I don't think it's going to be very close in this in the NFC run.
I'll say this about Tampa. They've been a pleasant surprise. And early on in the season, Baker Mayfield had his struggles. The offense had its struggles big time. Like Mike Evans forgot how to catch. Chris Godwin was irrelevant. There was a lot of issues with that team, especially offensively. Now, as we get closer to the end, it seems like this team is starting to click now. Offensively, defensively, the defense has been playing well. And I don't know how they did it with their contracts, but they've managed to keep this team all together, even with just Brady exiting. They've kept the defense together. They've kept the offense together, and they've just inserted Baker Mayfield. They obviously didn't expect to have any success. They probably didn't even expect to be in the hunt, let alone pursuing the division lead right here. Mm-hmm. They are right now leading the division. They are right now technically in the playoffs. Because of how weak this division is, or turned out to be, a lot of us, like ourselves, had the Saints running away with this division. Thought that the Saints offense was going to be spectacular and tough to stop, and along with their defense. But man, that's been the opposite dramatically. Like the offense is spitting and sputtering for the New Orleans. A lot of dissension on the offensive side of the ball for them. But for Tampa, it seems like they're starting to get things kind of meshed out, leveled out, figured out, to the point where Baker's having a great last couple of games. I mean, the guy threw for 4 touchdowns the previous week, over 300 yards passing, like really legitly looked like a starting caliber quarterback. And maybe it is the chemistry starting to come together right at the right time for them. And I think they have a very, very good chance of winning this division, making the playoffs. But once they get there, that is the critical thing. Is like, okay, it's well and good. You superseded expectations, but can you beat the next good team? Can you beat the Eagles if you ever had to play them? Can you beat the Niners? Probably not. Those teams are so well balanced and so much better in terms of talent that it's to be expected that they lose those games. So could they pull off an upset? Sure. Just like we've seen all season long. It's any given Sunday. But if I'm being honest with myself, they're pretenders at best.
It's all fake news. It's phony stuff. It didn't happen.
Yeah, who knows? Yeah, like I said, it's tough. It's good to see what they can do here. But, I mean, are they really going to do anything? Probably not. All right, next up we've got the Los Angeles Rams. And again, they've been like a surprise team for me too as well. When I saw that McVay decided to come back, I was almost like, what the hell are you doing? You could have just moved on and then just whatever. Because again, another team that kind of really went all in for those Super Bowl runs and was able to cash in on one of them, when they got Matthew Stafford here. But offensively surprised me. We're able to do a lot here, with Matthew Stafford and Cooper Kupp staying healthy for the most part. Puka Nacua getting some stuff here done, and Kyron Williams here, and running the ball a little bit here, despite losing a lot even on defense, but making a run, looking pretty good, and now they're making a playoff push where I thought they were going to be just about dead last in their division, except for the miserable Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah, the one thing about the Rams that I didn't question is with Stafford coming back completely healthy and this offensive line coming back healthy, I thought the offense was going to be okay. Not great, but I thought it was going to be okay enough to keep them in games and do that. The one concern I had, though, was defense. Yes, they got Aaron Donald, but after that, they had a lot of new name players, guys, rookies coming in, new free agents signed. A lot of even in terms of farm players for the Rams that nobody knew about, but they did. And they had confidence that they were going to come in and they were going to do what they needed to do to help this offense out, and they've done that. Surprisingly, their very young defense has created big-time chemistry with each other. They've been able to get after teams, prevent teams from scoring, and here's the Rams sitting at 8-7 with a chance to make the playoffs, and who knows after that, because this is another one of those teams that were late bloomers this year, where they competed all season long, but now you're seeing the best gameplay from the Rams out of the whole season. Stafford is dialed in. He has Puka, like you mentioned. Obviously, everyone knows Cooper Kupp, but one guy that no one's taking, a look at here is the last 4 weeks, Demarcus Robinson, who is a aging wide receiver in the league, gets signed by the Rams, learns the playbook. The last 4 weeks, it's been almost his favorite target that he's thrown other than Puka. So, yes, there's less throws going to Cooper, but who cares? This offense is working. And with Kyron Williams as the running back, the way he's been able to take the torch in the backfield and say, I got you guys. You need to give me the rock. I'm going to get you 5 yards, 10 yards, score a touchdown, do whatever's necessary. So this team is really coming together at the perfect time, and it's turning this team into definitely a contending team in the NFC. So I got to say they're contenders for me.
Yeah, I think I'm going to agree with you as well, too. Like I said, they've been a surprise for me here, too. But where they look now, I could see them really, especially with the end of the season, who they've got to face. They can win out and really press a Philly team, things like that, what you're seeing. And then that tough divisional matchup with the 49ers, if they had to, they can keep it with them. So, I wouldn't be surprised if these guys could be that kind of sneaky team, the sleeper team to go into it. We got Max Boyd's got a few different comments, Joe. What does he got here? He goes, I like the Baker story, but I don't see them beating Dallas or Philly, in my opinion.
Actually, you know what's interesting is you just mentioned Dallas, and Dallas hasn't looked that great last couple of weeks. Like their defense giving up points, like the Dak Prescott, when he's pressured. What we're noticing about Dak right now is that when the offensive line collapses and all that pressure is on him, he is not a very good quarterback with pressure. He's throwing the ball in the dirt. Sometimes it's on purpose, obviously, to get rid of the ball, but we're noticing that affects him a lot. Defenses are going to take note of that going into, if they do play them in the playoffs, and say, hey, if we can get some pressure on this guy, he's not going to be able to slice and dice us. So something to watch out for, later on.
Well, I think the key here for Dallas is what even the last couple of teams have been able to do is short intermediate throws and running the football a lot effectively to eliminate that pass rush, to eliminate the sense of, the pass rush getting to the offense, and they're able to move the ball. So I think that's been key to them to stop that defense and trying to get those sacks or those turnovers and things like that. It's been effective the last couple of weeks. So I think that's the key to help beat Dallas.
That's the problem is their offensive line sucks right now. Like injuries are piling up. Guys aren't being able to do their jobs. And all the heat's on Dak.
That's big for them there. Yeah, absolutely. On the other side, yeah. Max Boyd says, Rams look scary. I'm not calling them contenders, but they can upset Detroit if they play each other. That's what I mean. I think if you put them up against any of these teams that are in the playoffs right now, I'd say they keep it close.
Honestly, I think the Rams in the right situation could beat the Eagles. The Eagles are not ironclad. The Eagles are very shaky,
We've seen
especially on offense. Lately. They're a shaky offense. Their defense isn't as, open and close shut. Like they give up some yards. They give up some scores now. Like the defense has changed. We mentioned that earlier, how they lost some key players. They tried to fill them in with younger guys, and it's not the same. So that's a team too. Like they're up there in the rankings and everything, but that's a team that's beatable.
Absolutely. Here you go. If you look at the top teams in the NFL right now, here we've got those two in the AFC, and then everybody in the rest that can make it. And like I said, you wanted parity in the league. This is it. We're seeing it right here this year, especially now with a lot of the starting quarterbacks going down and all these backups having to play. it's really set the bar really close to where everybody's
It's
really
changed it,
right
yeah.
there. You know what I mean? And so the top teams really here are the ones that really have kept their quarterback healthy, you know, from here on out. 49ers, Eagles, Lions, and Cowboys are right there, and I think the Rams can really contend with any of those teams right there. So finally there we've got the Seattle Seahawks here. You know, they've been a pretty good team here too on defense, offensively up and down. It all depends on even how strong. There's been no team I think that's been so much of a difference than when they play home or not, Joe. I mean, they just when they're home, it is like they're unbeatable. They cannot. It's like that crowd behind them. It really just makes all the difference in the world, and they just play like out of their minds. Even Drew Lock here, you know, getting it done and playing big here for them when he had to set up and play for an injured Geno Smith, pulling out a win when, you know, they needed it desperately when I didn't think they were going to, you know. I mean, so that's big for them. So they can keep it tight in this matchup here, and they can contend with some of these guys. But again, I think I'm not completely sold on them right now, so I'm going to just automatically call them a pretender at this point.
I'm going to say that the decline in Geno Smith's ability at quarterback is the big reason why this team is 8-7 right now and not double-digit wins. Mm-hmm. He's literally single-handedly made a lot of mistakes to the point where it's held the offense back, not being able to score points. And in turn, that defense spends an awful lot of time on the football field getting tired. So Seattle, that's not a recipe to win. Geno Smith is back healthy again. I don't know if he's got it in him. This year, it looks a little differently. I don't think it's Geno Smith's play is completely changed. I just think that the defenses in the NFC, now that they have more film on them, they're getting a little bit more creative in how to play them, and it's disrupting a lot of things offensively for them. But Seattle, they have a very young, talented defense. I've always liked their defense, but offensively, with Geno's limitations, I feel like that's going to hold them back a little bit. They are pretenders to me, even though before the season started, I thought Seattle was going to be one of these teams that was going to be definitely not only winning the division easily, but making a big push for this Super Bowl. Yep. We're not seeing it right now.
Yep, absolutely. All right, so that's it for our contender pretenders. If you look at some of the NFC teams that are left over, they're all kind of in, and they got a lot of the backups. You know, Packers, they can do kind of something, but again, it all depends on what, you know, the Cowboys do and things like that, because they've really got the lead, but they've got like a 3-game lead on these other teams. Mm-hmm. So if they squander it within his last 2, I mean, you know,
anything can happen.
No, like, they're already 3 games behind. So I mean,
what I'm saying is anything can happen is because when you get into the playoffs and you're not playing well, and now you play in round 1 and you lose. You're one and done, and it's all for nothing.
Yeah, but out of the ones that are there, I would say maybe the Packers have the better chance because their defense plays pretty well here too, and we've seen at times that Jordan Love can do something here. Besides that, all the rest are backup quarterbacks here and not really strong teams, you know. So, all right, next up, we got the picks here for Week 17, Joe. Week 17 is here. We got 2 more weeks here of the season. Right here are the standings for everybody out there. So if you guys don't know, you're just tuning in now, you don't know. At the end of the year, the loser of the competition will drink a football-sized alcoholic drink, and it's a lot of fun, usually around the Super Bowl, right after the Super Bowl. So make sure you guys tune in for that. So it's a lot of fun here, Joe. It's tight. We got the picks going. So Thursday night football, December 28th. The Jets and the Cleveland Browns. Jets, again, strong defense. Offense is just not very good. You got Trevor Siemian in there now for injured. Zach Wilson.
That offense looked amazing. Like, he didn't do a lot, right?
Well,
like he didn't.
That's what you're trying to expect somebody to do. Don't do a lot. Just don't ruin the game.
Yeah, he didn't do a lot. It was a lot of running. It was a lot of short stuff, but they made it work, and they scored points, and then the defense took over on some things. Like, man.
You know what I mean?
Tough that defense is so good that's really what's keeping them alive.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. But Cleveland playing at home is going to be tough here. Jets, again, with really not a lot of offense here. Joe Flacco, the way he's been playing, I'm going with the Cleveland Browns on this one.
The other thing, too, I'll say about the Jets is, like, this whole thing about, like, oh, well, if we can keep winning, I think they're out of it now. They're 6-9 right now. They're definitely done.
Yeah.
They don't have nothing to play for, really.
No.
Especially when you're playing a Browns team that isn't in your division. Like, you could see I could see, like, if they were playing the Patriots or the Dolphins or something like that, then they might turn it up a notch and say, hey, let's spoil them. Let's make them lose. But Cleveland, there's really no, like, animosity there or anything like that. So because of Jets, they don't really have much to play for. And obviously in Cleveland, be in the dog pound with Flacco running that offense as well as he has, and this defense licking their chops to get after Trevor Siemian, I got Cleveland.
Yeah, even if you put the two quarterbacks next to each other, Simeon and Joe Flacco, even when Joe Flacco was there with the Jets, before, I picked Joe Flacco all day on that one. So next we've got Saturday, December 30th, the Detroit Lions and Dallas Cowboys here. People are going to be excited to watch this game. Dallas is going to be at home. Detroit, again, they really,
Tough.
it's tough for them to go against a team that's really, a better team, if you want to say that at this point. It's tough for me to trust Detroit. They have played up to teams like this before, but it is an uphill battle for them. I got to go with the Dallas Cowboys at home, though, to strike back, because they definitely play better when they're at home. And then now it's crunch time for them. I think they're going to make that push and show them that they belong here with the Detroit Lions.
And this is the problem, is Detroit's been one of those teams that have been so up and down. They've played hard competition like Kansas City in the opening season, where, like, they just beat up the Chiefs, and no one saw that coming. And then they've played other teams where you're like, oh, they should easily win it, and they just don't. I just don't know yet what we're getting with Detroit still as we get closer to the playoffs. This is a game where they can prove to a lot of people, like, hey, we can win the big games. It's not just, a Russian roulette, and then we get a win here and there. We can string wins together. So Dallas Cowboys, very tough team to play in Dallas, especially. Their defense, man, how good has that defense come alive, this season especially. But I'll say this, like, if Detroit is able to get pressure on Dak and disrupt some of these plays, I know Detroit doesn't have the best secondary, but Detroit, I feel like, is one of those teams that could keep this close just by scoring with Jared Goff. So I'm going to go with Detroit on the other hand on this one.
All right.
With the upset.
Nice.
Before we go any further,
okay.
If you're new to the show, guys, help us grow this football community of ours by going over to YouTube. Hit that subscribe button while you're there. Hit the notification bell, let you guys know when we go live. And, of course, drop comments down below. Just let us know you're here. We go live every Wednesday night at 8:30 p.m. If you're dropping a comment, we're reading it on the air. We're talking about whatever you want to talk about, like you saw today. Got people were dropping comments. We were bouncing ideas back and forth. Discussions were being made. And you can be a part of the show, too. That's the whole point of this. We're an interactive NFL talk show. Tune in next Wednesday night, 8:30 p.m., where we talk about Week 17. Also, if you want to take us on the go and be in the know, wherever you may go, make sure you drop a follow anywhere you get your podcasts.
All right, Stephen Murray says, great show, gents. Yeah, thank you so
Appreciate
much,
it, Steve.
Stephen. Thank you for tuning in.
Thanks,
Happy
man.
holidays to you, buddy.
It's been a while. Yo, we need to get back together. Like,
Yeah,
we
we
need
do.
to go out and do something.
Absolutely. Hit us up. Absolutely. Yeah, maybe we'll have him on the show.
Oh, by the
sometime,
way,
too.
everybody,
Yeah.
if you don't already know, Stephen Murray, he is the
That
voice
is true.
of Football on the Know. So that
Banned in most countries, but
See
not
that?
here.
right there, listen to that. That is the golden pipes of Stephen Murray.
That's right.
Hashtag know-it-alls.
Oh,
That's right.
just amazing.
There you go. Yes, team up. Absolutely. So here we go. We got Sunday's games here, December 31st, New Year's Eve, Joe.
Nope.
Any plans New Year's Eve? Anybody got plans out there? Let us know what you're doing besides watching football,
I
things
have
like that. You
no
gonna do
plans
anything?
right now.
Well, we're older now, too. I don't really go out and do anything for the holidays. Do you do
Yeah,
anything
well, I'm
like that?
single, so I
You-
either I
you
stay
just go
home by
play or
myself,
do
or you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
or
maybe
I
we'll go do something.
I might do something. I don't know.
Excellent. All right. Well, cool. All right. We got the New England Patriots and the Buffalo Bills. Patriots. Offense came alive for some reason last week. What the hell was that? What is surprising? And just when you think you're putting a fork in
See
them,
that?
they're dead, and you're saying already, where's the landing spots for Bill Belichick? And a week after, they're like, no, we're not done yet. What the hell, man? Way to just surprise everybody here. But I still don't think it's going to be this week. They kept it close last game because we even said when these guys
Right.
faced off, it was going to be tight, especially there in New England.
Divisional game.
And New England really kept it close. Buffalo was on the ropes there.
Right.
different here playing in Buffalo in the way they're making their push right now for the playoffs. I like the Buffalo Bills in this one.
Yeah, and the Buffalo Bills are getting healthier too. Like they're getting back their rookie quarterback and Kyer Elam. It has been activated off of IR, so he's coming back to the fray here for the Buffalo Bills just in time at the end of the season. New England Patriots, what was that last week? You're right. Like I was very confused how all of a sudden they had an offense. And it's got to be, hey, got to give kudos to Ezekiel Elliott, running the football, getting the hard yardage, doing what he had to do to help keep the offense on the field. So look for that to happen again. Like it worked last week. You got to try it this week. I know it's against a tough defense in the Bills, but you got to try to do something here.
Yeah, they're not as good against the run as pass. Absolutely.
Here's my thing is I understand no team just says, oh, we're going to fold up shop and we're going to just lose the rest of our games to get a higher pick. But it seems like they're still fighting. Even though they're out of the playoffs, there's no shot. They're still fighting to win more games. It's definitely a pride thing, especially for a guy like Bill Belichick, who's been criticized and questioned all season long. Is he going to stay? Is he going to go? What's going on there? They won last week. If they could pull off an upset of this magnitude, I don't think there can't be any questions if Bill's going to be ousted or something like that. Basically, I think it's Bill's decision, to be honest.
Oh yeah, it's got to be.
Because you know what? I talked about this like with someone outside of our show, obviously, but I was like, what's confusing to me is how all of a sudden, because of how bad the Patriots have played this year, now all of a sudden we're questioning Bill Belichick. Now as Patriots fans and whatever, they're questioning like, is he the right guy anymore? Should we move on? What this guy's done for this franchise cannot be done again. And for
after
Bill,
2 short years or whatever, after what he's done for the last 10
for
to 20.
Bill, to me, he's got to be. I think some of the articles might have something to do with maybe Bill is probably thinking about retirement because he's a much older coach. I think he's 79, 80 years old right now. But he's done everything you could possibly do. So maybe he's contemplating and he hasn't decided yet. But maybe that's something that's in the back of his mind. Maybe it might be time. Tom Brady's not there. You got to restart the quarterback thing again. And does he even want to go through all that again? So maybe he is. It's a possibility. Might be looking to retire. But nonetheless, I'm going Buffalo Bills.
All right. All right. Next, we got the Atlanta Falcons and the Chicago Bears. Bears at home, I always say they play better, which they do. Atlanta, I'm not sold on them.
I'm not sold on either team.
I know they're tough, both of these teams, but you know what? I'm going to roll with Chicago in this one.
Yeah, because it worked out well for you last week. You picked Chicago and they won for you.
Boom.
That doesn't happen to me.
No.
If I pick Chicago this week, they're going to lose.
This is how we do.
So I don't know. I hate picking it. But what I'll say this is like.
But you like going with Atlanta, but do you like it now? Do you like?
They have Justin. Well, now I feel better that Taylor Heineke is the quarterback. The thing that bothered me was they kept sticking with Ritter. They kept putting him back in. It's like, dude, Taylor Heineke is not only a veteran, but he seems to run the offense better. So why are you taking him back out? So I still look at, and here's the kicker, right? I heard from an Atlanta newspaper that Arthur Smith is likely staying. Like, he's not going to be pushed out. And my jaw dropped. I'm like, how after this year? For him to stick by Ritter as much as he did, and if he truly believed in Ritter like it looked like it, that's not the answer. And if that's your decision-making in terms of, like, personnel, and no, this can't go on any longer. Now, not only that, but he's a terrible play caller.
Yeah.
So I still believe that he should be fired. Hopefully he is for Atlanta fans' sake. But nonetheless, I do like Taylor Heineke. Gives them a better shot offensively for the Falcons to score points. And the Falcons' defense isn't quite too shabby. So I'm going to have Atlanta go into Chicago and get a win.
All right. Then we got the Vegas Raiders and the Indianapolis Colts here. Colts won last week. Here they are here at home again. They're on that cusp. Can the Raiders shut it down? Raiders looking really good the last 2 weeks here. You know what they did to
the defense,
the Chargers, and then now the Chiefs. Now, can they do the same thing here against the Indianapolis Colts here, Joe?
It's possible. I mean, I'll say that, but I mean, like, here's the thing: is like the Vegas Raiders defense. I'm shocked on how good they've played all year long. Offensively, it's been a little shaky. Jimmy G, there was a reason why he got benched because they weren't doing anything. They weren't even sustaining drives at all, first downs for that matter. So with a rookie quarterback, though, which is another big surprise, a fourth-round pick at that. Yes, he's had good games. He's also had terrible games. But the funny thing is he gives them the best shot at winning games. So I think with the Vegas Raiders going into Indianapolis, it's, in, a dome area. So you don't have to worry about the cold. You don't have to worry about the snow or anything like that. I think the Vegas Raiders and their defense, I think that gives them a lot of chances, especially with this offense, to get to score points against the Colts. I like the Vegas Raiders to go into Indianapolis and get another win.
All right. Man, it's tough for me to decide on this one, but you know what? Maybe I'll roll with your Raiders this time for the hell of it.
The only reason
I really think the Colts can really get it done here.
The other thing too is, despite the Colts' success, their offensive line is absolutely horrible, and I feel like that's another reason why they drafted Anthony Richardson, was because of his escapability and his legs and how fast he is. So if the play broke down, he could just take off. They don't have that with Minshew, so. We'll see what happens. He's still got some wheels, don't get me wrong, but...
All right, next we got the Los Angeles Rams and the New York Giants here. Again, Giants now, they're going back to Tyrod Taylor here, which, again, I think is
they
just
benched
dumb.
Tommy DeVito.
And so I like the Los Angeles Raiders, or Los Angeles
Something
Rams
like that.
in this one. The Rams in this one. The Giants, just not a good team. They're bouncing back and forth between quarterbacks and stuff.
When you
start
second guessing your quarterback situation, and it's almost like it's a rotation now at this point. Tyrod Taylor, you get the tip of the cap, and I don't think much changes. I just think that the offense is it might struggle more. Who knows? I feel like Tommy gave him a little bit of an upside.
Yeah, I think so too, and whatever. But Tyrod Taylor, I think he's just not good. Not anymore. I mean, his footwork was terrible again. We see him last week. It was just terrible. And it led to bad throws and a couple near turnovers. Not very good. The one throw he was able to get was the deep ball to a wide open,
but you got to
Slayton. But besides that,
the one thing that you got to remember is a quarterback not getting first team reps all week long, and then you get thrown into the game. It's kind of difficult to just kind of show up and show out mid game. So Tyrod Taylor, now that he has a full week, maybe he looks a little bit better. But footwork, as you alluded to, it's never been his thing, ever. Even his success in Buffalo, he's always never thrown on a platform. That's just part of his game. Yep. So
Stephen Murray says, number 5 overall pick, baby. That's right. Here we go.
Right now.
So far.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. Absolutely.
But yeah,
you got the
Rams,
right?
Giants. I got the Rams easily. we talked up the Rams enough this show that how can I go back?
Lose to the Giants after this one? Yeah, no. All right, Arizona Cardinals and the Philadelphia Eagles. This is going to be a dirty game because again, for some reason,
it's a dirty game, not a clean one.
No, these two teams they're going to face off against each other, and for some reason, there is a lot of hatred there. And it's going to get tough. It's going to get rugged. Philadelphia struggling right now, finding, there's some wins here and that, we said that offense struggles at times, but, still offensively they're ranked fairly good. That defensive side though has been really kind of their killer. Like I said in the secondary has been, kind of their fault here, not getting it done. But, I think playing at home here against Arizona, the team that they should beat, I'm going with the Philadelphia Eagles on this one to turn it around against this team.
Shocker. Because I'm going to do the same thing. I don't think the Cardinals are going to even come close to winning this game. I think that the Eagles the crazy thing is that the Eagles are 11-4, but they look like a 500 team on offense.
Weird like that? It's kind of weird.
They've done just enough in games to win, but by no means have they blew us away.
People don't look at them like a big win team. You know what I mean? It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
All right, now we got the New Orleans Saints and the Tampa Bay
Buccaneers. Here we go. Here we go. It's the battle.
Dumb game.
The battle of the Bay.
This is tough because, again, New Orleans, I don't trust them at all. And again, they almost let it edge away from them. They did lose last week, but, I mean, they had a chance and they got it closer and stuff, but they've been like that team, man. They've been up and down and not beating teams that they should, and, turmoil inside the organization. People don't like Derek Carr. People don't like this, James Winston, blah, blah. It's just a mess there. So I think I'm just going to go with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They're at home. Baker Mayfield's been getting better, I think, offensively with everybody. He's got the weapons. Let's go. Let's go with it.
I will not be surprised if this game is turned upside down on its head and the Saints romp the Buccaneers.
I wouldn't be surprised either.
Or I wouldn't be surprised if it goes the other way either.
It's weird, man.
Because both teams have struggled up to this point. At different points of the season. The Saints, on the other hand, they've just struggled on pretty much offense. Their defense is still good. They still make plays. But if they can just get it right, I'm sorry, I really kind of point to the offensive coordinator. I think he doesn't call the right plays in the right situations. He puts players in the wrong positions and wants it to work out anyway. It's not how it works. I feel like they rotate the quarterbacks too much, especially when you get into the red zone. Like, Derek Carr will throw a beautiful pass to Chris Olave 30, 40 yards down the field. They end up at the 15, and now that they're in the red zone, they bring in Taysom Hill for the next 2 plays. It's like, dude, you can easily just score real quickly and just have Carr throw to a tight end or something.
Yeah, what are you doing?
So because of all that, because like you just mentioned how much of a mess offensively it is, I can't go with the Saints. As much as I want to, I just can't do it because of how inept that offense is. I'm going with Tampa Bay with how they are right now.
The talent that they have there, and you're scratching your head. You're like, why can't they get it done?
No,
you know what I mean?
And that's the thing is they show flashes, and then they still struggle. You know what I mean? Like, it's in a game. It's in a single game where you see, oh, that's the offense we thought we were going to see, and then the next 6 series they're 3 and out. They don't do nothing. So I don't know. Tampa Bay. Definitely for this one. If Tampa Bay wins this one, pretty much pushes the Saints out of contention for the division, I would think.
Yep. And the San Francisco 49ers against the Washington Commanders. Washington at home. Washington, again, a lot of those picks, especially up here in upstate New York, everybody was calling you a moron if you picked the Jets because, I don't know. They just hate the Jets that much up here. I don't know what the deal is. Washington was their sleeper pick, and look what happened. Everything that we said was going to happen. Washington, bad offensive line. And you saw it last week against a good defense. Sam Howell had no chance. Sam Howell leads the NFL in pick sixes and interceptions. Not good decisions.
You know who else doesn't have a chance? Jacoby Brissett, because Sam Howell got benched.
Yeah.
I think it's because I think they're like, wow, we're beating this kid up. Let's just take him out and put Brissett in.
And they put Brissett in, but they did a little better. I mean, they got back into it, but it just wasn't enough by that time. It's not. So, I mean, you saw what this team was. They're not very good. San Francisco, again, Brock Purdy had a bad game, just a 4-turnover day. It is what it is. Wipe it clean. This team has a lot of weapons. They're good on offense and defense altogether. They're one of the top teams in the NFC right now. They're going to get it done here against Washington.
Yeah, look for the 49ers to just take care of business in this game. This is a team that they should dominate. They should just flat out easily win. By halftime, you might even see backups playing for the Niners.
Right.
It might be that bad. Washington's been struggling up to this point. I think Brissett gives them a little bit of a spark. Doesn't hold on to the football, but even in the end, Niners are going to come away with this win and going up to 12-4 after that.
And in the words of George Kittle and stuff, I think the NFL scriptwriter is going to have a great day this day and script a good game.
Oh, yeah, because that's really hard to figure out.
Oh, man. All right, the Carolina Panthers.
This one. Speaking of hard things to figure out,
Jaguars.
This game.
Yes.
Because I'll tell you right now, it could go either way.
I don't know. I really don't believe in Carolina at all for anything.
I never have. That.
Yeah, but Jacksonville, they're a head scratcher. But this has got to be a team that they can beat here. You know what I mean? They've been hanging tough with some of these other games. It's not like all of a sudden they're getting beat and they're like, oh, wow, Jacksonville, we're saying they're maybe even a pretender right now. They've been competitive. They just haven't been able to pull out those victories. And their defense hasn't looked as good as they did early on in the season.
Yeah, middle of the season is when they were thriving.
But they're at home. I'm going to go with the Jaguars on this one.
Yeah, I don't like either team. I'm skipping this one.
The two expansion teams right
I'll
there.
tell you right now that this game, I think, easily could go either way. And the reason why is because Trevor Lawrence isn't 100%. And I don't even know if he's going to play. And if C.J. Beathard takes over, I'm not saying that the offense is going to be inept, but what I'm saying is that the offense does take a step back or two.
Yeah, absolutely.
So with that being said, that might give Carolina a decent chance of stealing a win away, which I don't know why they would want to win more games, but they've been pretty bad. Bryce Young hasn't looked very good all season long. And I thought, like, with all the hype around that kid, up to this point, like later in the season, you might see, like, oh, he's starting to sustain drives. Oh, he's making better decisions. You should see some kind of development kicking in at this point. And I haven't seen anything. So Carolina still continue to struggle. I expect Jacksonville Jaguars, just because they're the better roster, they're the better team, but I really would not. I'm taking the Jaguars, but really wouldn't be surprised if Carolina wins this one.
All right. Got breaking news, Joe, from our On the Beat reporter. It's Tom Leiter is in the house with us tonight.
Well, let's go. What we got?
He says Caleb Williams doesn't start, and the backup throws 4 touchdowns so far. Off topic, he says. So there you go. How about that?
So that just shows you they had a really good quarterback waiting in the wings, and now he'll be back next year to take on everybody. So Caleb Williams sucks so bad he's benched. No, just kidding. But no, he just not playing because of the draft, because of all that.
And all that stuff. But hey, looks like they're
just
okay,
taking it
though,
easy.
still without it. How
Hey.
about that?
I mean, when you're USC, you're not lacking talent. You always have good players.
There you go. And we got the Miami Dolphins and the Baltimore Ravens. Here we go, Joe. This is the tough one here. The
This is a
1
good
versus 2 here.
Yeah.
Early. So it's the early present, maybe, a preview.
I can't wait for this game. This game is going to be fun.
Championship game here, right here. So Miami
This will be
Dolphins,
fun to watch.
Baltimore at home. I would say I give the edge to them just because of even that right there. Their defense playing even really well, too, on top of it. But Miami sneaks out a win. I'm not surprised here, but I'm going to go with the Baltimore Ravens on this one.
I am rooting for the Dolphins just so we can say that the Dolphins prove everybody wrong and they can beat the better team. Hey, they beat the Cowboys. Kudos to them last week. But this week is going to be, I feel like, a much tougher opponent because the Ravens have been tested and tried, and still they have the crown on them because they can say that they beat the Niners. They can say that they could compete with anybody in the NFC. They could even beat anybody in the AFC. So they're the top dog right now. And the Dolphins, if they were able to steal a game out of here, it changes the whole playoff spectrum. Now you're thinking, well, Miami Dolphins beat Baltimore. Baltimore beat the Niners. How the frig do we figure this out? Because it and just
embarrassed the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah, and just because of what you said, but the crazy thing is these AFC teams, when they play each other, it's a closer game than we think. So Miami, if they were to pull this off, kudos to them. But because Baltimore's playing home, I think that gives them the edge, like Jim was saying. I love what the Ravens have done so far. Hopefully, with the Niners win last week, it doesn't go over their heads here. They got to stay focused and beat Miami.
Yep, that's true. That's true. The Tennessee Titans and the Houston Texans here. Houston at home. Tennessee, again, in a lot of games, just doesn't have enough to get it done here. So this is going to be a tough matchup for them here because, again, especially if C.J. Stroud is completely healthy, that changes everything because Houston plays better at home as well, and they've been on it this year. Titans just underwhelming. I'm not really sold on them right now. So Houston at home, I'm going to ride with Houston.
Yeah, as of right now, C.J. Stroud has one more phase to clear in concussion protocol. It looks like he's likely to do that, so he should be a full go this week, and that's a huge thing for Houston. If he comes back, this offense is going to be tip-top shape. They should be having Nico Collins back again this week, still healthy, Noah Brown, so they got some weapons to throw to. And that defense has been playing well above their pay grade. But for this game with Tennessee, I think Tennessee, they've struggled, and it's to the point where if they can't get the running game going, they're shot. And we've kind of called that as it was, but it's so true that if Henry can't get moving, this offense struggles big time to the point where all the pressure is on the quarterback and Will Levis. Can he put the team on his back? and lead them down the field if that happens. That's still something that he has to answer. I feel like this is another test for him. I'm going to go with Houston since they're home, and Stroud looks like he'll be coming back. This team, man, has superseded all expectations.
Yeah, next up we got the Pittsburgh Steelers, who just shocked me last week with
what was
Mason
that?
Rudolph again.
What are they?
Rudolph, again, thanks his Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, his creator.
Rudolph the
God,
red-nosed
and everybody.
reindeer at quarterback.
Wow. Again, and it's weird. It's like we saw it with Drew Lock. We see it now with Mason Rudolph. Dude, guys are kind of written off that slid down the depth charts on these teams and just didn't look really good whenever they had the opportunity to be the guy or be the starter. And they show up and the pressure's off and boom, just light it up somehow, Will he do it again this week, though? That's the sketchy part.
And where are they playing, Jim?
Seattle.
They're playing in Seattle.
Seattle again. So just being that said right here again, Pittsburgh, I think they did great last week. Moving forward with some weapons here and with some the points. But Seattle, like I said, they play better at home. I think they have enough to get it done here. I'm going to go with the Seattle Seahawks against the Steelers here.
I will say this, that if Seattle loses this game, we were absolutely right about them being pretenders.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, there you go.
I, too, am going to pick Seattle just because they're home, because they are technically the better team. They should win this game. Pittsburgh has struggled offensively all season long. I know they had a big outburst last week, but I feel like that was kind of like a one-hit wonder.
Tom Leiter says Seahawks. Boom, he's on it. No surprise there.
Shocker.
Right.
Tom picked the Seattle Seahawks.
Oh, man, yep. Next, we've got the Los Angeles Chargers and the Denver Broncos. Oh, my gosh.
This is the toughest game to pick.
Sucks.
Because we have a benched Russell Wilson.
Yes, yeah.
You got Jarrett Stidham coming in to throw the football.
Stick, though.
Easton Stick.
Yeah, how about that?
He had one good week and then
points
not so good.
Here and okay. It's weird. But it's just, I don't want this game at all. You wanted to skip the other game, the Jacksonville Carolina game.
Skip this one.
This one, I can't believe is going to be existing. I don't even know what to do on this one. Oh, man, this is so tough. How about we flip a coin? I don't know. I don't even have a coin.
Well, I'm going to go with the Denver Broncos. And because the Broncos have a better defense than the Chargers.
I was thinking that because of defense.
And
I have the only reason.
I honestly have more faith in Jarrett Stidham than I do Easton Stick. I've seen him throw the ball before. I've seen him kind of just take over when he was with the Raiders, and he came in for Carr because he was injured. He did a pretty good, or no, because he got benched. He came in and did a decent job.
Yeah, again, he had 4 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. But
dude, you had to watch that game, bro. He really did a good job. So like I'm going to go with Denver Broncos all day long.
I think I will just because, again, at home and then their defense.
Well, you should go with the Chargers.
Too. Yeah, maybe I should.
You don't have any confidence in Stidham.
They put up some points last week, kept it hanging tough with Buffalo for a little bit. All right, next we got the Kansas City Chiefs and the Cincinnati Bengals. Oh, man, I bet the NFL really wanted this to be a big matchup here for them around this time of the year, but instead you've got Jacob Browning and you've got Mac Jones for the Kansas City Chiefs playing. Oh, wait, it kind of looks like Mac Jones, but no, it's Mahomes. But he's playing like garbage. He's absolute trash right now. But I think they do have enough to get it done against Cincinnati. Cincinnati's got a real good defense, though, and they could hurt them here. Again, this could be another surprise game where Cincinnati can pull off a victory. And imagine that to where you could be that team where these backup quarterbacks with these defenses have gone through Kansas City and beat Mahomes and Kelsey and all the names you want to bring up. And, Chris Jones on defense.
The Bengals defense does a really good job. The last time they played the Chiefs, they kind of really kept them in check, so this could be one of those very close games down to the wire. Whoever has the ball last type of thing can win it. The other thing I'll say is Browning not having a very good outing last week. Struggled mightily.
Joe. You let us down.
So with Cincinnati and that said, I'm not going to dive too much into it because it's like, all right, it's one game. Doesn't mean that he'll play terrible in this game. But the Chiefs, this is a game where you have to win. You have to win this game. You can't lose 3 in a row. And if they do, the interesting thing about all this is if the Chiefs happen to lose against the Bengals and they lose the last game and the Raiders are able to win this week and next week, the Raiders lead the division. They win the division. Ain't that crazy?
Mm-hmm.
So Chiefs can't let that happen.
They can't let that happen.
So this is a game where you pick the better team. If Joe Burrow was there, I'd probably go Bengals. I'm not going to lie. I feel like Joe Burrow, if he was there, that they beat the Kansas City Chiefs. But because Browning is there, it limits that offense. And with the fact of Jamar Chase has a sprained shoulder, I don't even think he's going to be there for this week either. So going to be without Chase as well. So I'm going to go Kansas City.
Tom Leiter says it comes down to whether or not Taylor Swift is there.
No, it doesn't. She was there against the Raiders and lost.
Yep.
So there. Take that.
See how long she sticks around if they keep losing.
All I know
like
is
that,
she was staring at Max Crosby as he walked off the field a little too long.
There you go.
That's all I'm saying.
I'm just saying she doesn't like to be disappointed, and she's known for being right there on the top. So doesn't like to give up that top spot. So if she's dating a loser, it won't be good for her. All right, the Kansas City Chiefs. I like them at home too. Whatever. There's a lot of home teams I'm picking right now.
Yeah, me too.
All right, so then when it comes to the Green Bay Packers and the Minnesota Vikings, again, Nick Mullins at the helm here for the Vikings.
Yeah, God.
Yeah, and Vikings, they made a good push for a little while, and the Dobbs thing was cool and stuff, and that team has played well. Green Bay, they looked up and down. They've got some inner turmoil going on here. Jair Alexander to mess up the coin flip, yada, yada, and he's going to be suspended or whatever for a game. That's going to be tough for them on defense. Yeah. But I think Green Bay has enough to get it done. I'm going to say Green Bay gets it done away from home here in Minnesota.
Yeah, I would definitely pick Minnesota if Kirk Cousins was still, in the rotation here. It's still doing his thing. But unfortunately for Minnesota, it's kind of hurt their chances to really see what they could do going into the playoffs. Yeah. That was exciting, is like to see the Vikings team not only gel together but they were playing amazing football when Kirk was there. That, man, what if in the NFC the Vikings were in the playoffs? What damage could they have done? But unfortunately, that's not the case. Green Bay Packers looks like the better team, and they have a better quarterback. Jordan Love, I just have way more faith in him than I do with Mullins. So I'm going Green Bay as well.
Yep, absolutely. All right, next, that's it. We've got the Week 17 in the books here next week. We've had a great holiday. I hope you guys had great holidays. We've got New Year's coming up.
Yes.
Let us know your resolutions next week, and hopefully we can live up to them, moving forward. And whatever resolutions we have for our teams, let us know next week too. So let us know, like Tom Leiter, your Seattle Seahawks.
That's right.
What do you hope for them for the next year to go? He says, everybody, go Huskies out there.
Listen, everybody, comment down below. Let us know what your team is. Let us know what your hopes are, your New Year's resolutions for your team for next year. In the comments below. Also, appreciate everybody for tuning in. Thanks for all the comments. Thanks for all the questions and everything, all the insight. I really appreciate it. Do us a huge favor. Spread the word. Send everybody over to YouTube for us. Hit that subscribe button while you're there. Football on the No Show. It's really easy to find. That big football shield that we have as our logo, that's the one to look for. Hit that subscribe button. Hit the notification bell. Let you guys know when we go live. And as well, you can follow us and take us along for the ride wherever you may go. Anywhere you get your podcasts.
All right, that's it. Thank you so much again, and thank you for another great year, and we'll see you guys next year.
Join us next week from 8 till 10 Wednesday night for more Football on the No with Jim and Joe.